Ashley Aisha from Power Rangers, and you are watching Pass the Controller.
Ptc.
It is Pass the Controller. Tell me out what's going on, everybody. Welcome to Pass the Controller episode 4. Pretty much, we know that we're better than you and everything, so don't worry about it, man. My name is Mark Knuckles Carter. McNucks to all you young new gamers out there. Respect your gaming elders. All of me, we got
Eric the Smoke Moran, the Smoke 007 for those who don't know, Jericho 007, and we got the man, the myth, the legend himself,
Brian Lessick, civic minded. What up?
Yo, man.
What up?
Listen, we got a good episode today. Matter of fact, when I was doing this outline, man, this episode was kind of sombering, man. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a little bit on the kind of the downside, man, as far as gamers go. But before we get to that, we're actually at the end of Q3, quarter 3, guys. If you know
made it.
Your quarters is from July to September. We're at the end of Q3, so that means it's getting down to the wire as far as the Game Awards come. December 6th, man. Spike TV. Well, I didn't know Spike TV. It's going to be online, matter of fact. So, but it's getting down to the wire, man. So let's talk a little bit about the Q3, about, get a little review of it, man. So what's your favorite game of Q3? I mean, you think about a lot of the games that came out in Q3. Now, mind you, we all pretty much had like a unison answer.
How about besides Spider-Man?
Yeah,
What was your favorite game?
Oh, besides Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I say God of War. God of War.
Yeah.
God of War. It hands down. God of War. And that and Detroit being human.
Yeah. Detroit
Yeah.
become human, yeah.
Yep.
Go become human, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about you, Civic?
Wow, Q3. Oh my God. I gotta go with Agony. Man, was that game good. Wow. Just hours of fun. Yo,
I was the first in line to get mine.
I have mentioned, I think I beat up on that game every single episode for the last 4 months. And I'm sorry. I'm gonna lay up on Agony.
I think the producers of the game are probably hearing you right now, like, oh man, here comes Civic. Here comes Civic. He's about to mess with us again. Oh, it wouldn't be an episode without talking about Agony.
If we had to put like the worst game of Q3, man, this
okay. So I'm gonna give a little love to a kind of a fringe game. Didn't get a lot of mainstream respect. Kind of flew under the radar. But the new Bomberman game, Bomberman Shiny. Is that what's it? Super Bomberman.
Super Bomberman
I don't even know
R.
Thank you, Bomberman R.
Super.
Yo, is that game fun?
Dude,
I
did I tell you?
Playing Bomberman.
Did I tell you?
Way back. I played that on the NES, played it on TurboGrafx to death, and they just came out with a new one, Bomberman R. Check it out. It's so fun. And they did it right, man, because it's just exactly how you remember it. Like the music and the characters. Yo, there's a lot of Konami stuff. You can unlock a lot of like Metal Gear.
That's what I was going to tell you.
Check it out. Yo, it's a good game. It's
Oh
really
my God.
fun. It's like a good party game. It's a good, like, if you're playing solo, it's fun. Playing with your family, friends, stuff, it's fun. Just pick it up.
Well, that means we got to link up, man. Party,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't know you had
got to get the game now, man.
I don't think we're getting the title right, though. I thought it was called, like, is it like Super Bomberman?
Super Bomberman R, yeah.
Shiny or something. Isn't it Shiny part of the title or something?
If it is, then it's probably written in little letters, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're at.
That's awesome, man. You know what? For me, I think my favorite game of Q3 right now, and I just played it yesterday, which pretty much my immersion to what we're playing.
I know where you're going. I know what you're going to say.
Go ahead. Okay.
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange 2.
Yeah.
No. Okay. What you say? Listen.
You know what? You know what? Now I'm gonna let y'all know. They've both been talking about it so much, especially Mark. Mark cannot. I talked about Detroit being human. You know what? Because Mark got me into the mindset, I'm going to download that game tonight. Seriously. Just on a simple fact. And then the reviews have been really
the Life is Strange story is so good. It put Telltale out of business.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
how
much
good it is.
We're going to talk about that a little later on too, man. But I want to, because now we're going to talk about like what we've been playing. To get into Life is Strange, now I don't want to spoil it because I know y'all both want to enjoy it.
Episode 1.
I'm going to tell y'all real quick. Pretty much the Life is Strange, the setting is we're pretty much in Trump's territory, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know Civic is going to have a lot of things to say. Even Smoke.
I mean, is it just as powerful as Detroit was because you know it had those layers of a message under the game.
It's basically you're pretty much looking at it as this is pretty much
Well, is episode 1? Just answer me one thing. And spoiler alert. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
Episode 1 is all that's out so far, right? Of Life is Strange season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have to replay the Captain Spirit? Is that like the first episode?
No, you don't. I don't see, and that's a good question because now I'm thinking about it. I was like, why did Captain Spirit is in connection with, Life is Strange 2? I don't see a connection with that.
Not yet.
Probably
not yet.
It takes place in the same universe though.
It probably does.
It all does. It's still a part of.
It's still
and I don't want to say,
important.
like I said again, no spoilers here, but from what I gathered, it's the same town, same setting, same time period generally.
Right.
But it's like a different subset of the storyline.
That's true. Yeah,
So,
basically. But I mean, you guys are going to enjoy it, though. I swear,
play.
you guys are going to enjoy it. You're going to be mind blown at the decisions that you make, especially in the setting that you're living in right now. It's a lot. It's hard hitting, man. I mean, I played it. It's about a 4.5 to 5 hour gameplay. Okay. If you really
for the first episode.
If you really get into detail and you checked everything everywhere, it's about a 4.5 to 5 hour gameplay.
I do. And you're a completionist. Did you get all the trophies?
No, I didn't. I'm about to run it back. I gotta run it back, man.
Strategy guys.
I gotta run it back. But now, actually, before we get to what you guys been playing, see now we're entering Q4, and there's a lot of games that's coming out Q4. I mean, you mentioned Mega Man 11 coming out October 2nd. Fist of North Star.
Yup.
October 2nd.
Picking that bad boy up.
For those that had to switch, Super Mario Party's coming out.
I have one beef with Fist of the North Star.
Okay.
Only one thing, and you guys are gonna be like, yo, that's stupid. The font that they used on the cover, it looks weird.
Oh, you're talking about that hard.
They did like a
heavy metal,
like Metallica.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect, I love Metallica, but it's funny. Like they went with something that doesn't look like anything you would readily recognize
of a
from
Fist
the
of the
franchise.
North Star. Yeah.
But I do hear that the cover is going to be reversible. There's an alternative cover to it, so maybe they did something.
Yeah,
like that.
right.
But that was the only thing. It's such a small thing, but I was like, where's their graphics guy?
All I can tell you is I played the demo. I played both the storyline demo, the little part of the storyline demo, and the open world demo. And that game, for those who are true like Fist of North Star fans like myself, that have been waiting for the ultimate game, and I own every Fist of North Star game. The game is so immersed, man, and it's got so many different levels. And I'm just kind of like, wow, you get to play the classic games within the game as an arcade game. I'm like, you can, and then the fighting, all the different fighting styles that you saw in the anime movies, in the series, the OVAs, everything's in this game. So just playing the demo that I played, I was kind of mind blown because this is like the ultimate, like Fist of the North Star game I've been wanting for decades. So now it's coming in. I'm gonna be the first one in line to pick up my copy because I already got it on reserve.
I just want to see him lose it and go, yeah.
I was already doing that in the demo. And his favorite line, "You're already dead." I'm like, Fist of Penance. I'm like, yes. So
you know, we recently did that thing on Facebook.
Yeah.
For anybody that follows me, somebody did like that. Over the next 10 days, like list your top favorite 10 animes without explanation. And I was like, yo, Fist of the North Star is in there.
Absolutely, because it gotta be top 10, man.
It's one of the oldest examples of good anime. In my opinion. Like you can go back and we're gonna get on a tangent. Anyway, yes, I like. Buy that game. Get Fist of the North Star.
But see, that matter of fact, that was in conjunction with a couple questions that we just got from viewers. As a matter of fact, and don't be shy, especially for all the people in the chat. If you do have any questions, matter of fact, post your questions up as well too. Just like from Instagram, we got Ultra Shadow Games, and also Kawaii Skullgirls is a real good Twitch streamer. And both questions are pretty much the same. They both say, hey guys, our question is, what new video game are you most excited for? And if so, what do you expect from it?
Man, it might be Fist of the North
Star.
Star.
For me,
it'd be Fist of the North Star.
Fist of the North Star. I'm not too excited about it, and I'm gonna be honest, and some of you guys might disagree with me. I'm not really excited about Red Dead Redemption 2. I just feel that it's gonna be, And then there's been rumors that it's going to take up a lot of space, a lot of memory space.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
wait
just,
until Death Stranding comes out.
well, yeah.
Talk to me about
that I'm getting a brand new hard drive for just for that alone. But
gotta buy a house, gotta put an extension on the
Red Dead Redemption, I'm just kind of waiting to see. I'm just going to see the feedback, mainly from these two and everything else, because it just didn't pique my interest. I'm waiting for Days Gone. Like that, I'm looking forward more to that. Man. Yeah, but I'm just not really. I think it might be too much overhypeness on that game. I checked out the trailers, and the trailers really didn't do nothing for me. And you know, you're going around, you're going to buy stuff to make stuff, and you're going to hunt stuff to make stuff to sell stuff, and then in between you're this guy that's going to have a gang, and the gang is going to. And I'm just kind of like. Yeah, it's gotta be something that really, like, I'm using Death Stranding for example. Death Stranding, granted, it's no one still knows, but when they came out with the newest demo, the Japanese gaming show, and I'm like, and again, it's got to have something that's going to grasp me. If you're gonna be a game producer that's putting out a new game, you want something that's going to get someone's attention, grab the gamer's attention. That's going to say, and to me, it's always about storyline. Granted, you have your fire games, but if you're talking about an open world game like Cyberpunk, you have to draw me in. Like Cyberpunk, I'm actually looking forward to. We got a long wait, but I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk. It's a different type of game, but for a game like this, I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of still on the fence with it. It's just. And I'm normally the first one to be, all for like games like that, but just kind of.
I mean, look, in that sort of genre, minus it being a sandbox game, which Days Gone is going to be, the game that set the bar for that sort of genre would be Last of Us. And you're talking about the game that I'm looking forward to. I mean, you got to think like Last of Us is probably coming sometime next year, hopefully sooner than later.
Right.
So, I mean. Yeah, you want to know what I'm looking forward to, and they're starting. You can tell that it's pending because now they're releasing, free wallpapers and stuff like that. And avatars, and I'm like, yo, this thing is gonna happen.
Trying to get your
avatar.
avatar.
I don't think it's gonna come before Christmas though. I think we're still looking at probably Q1, Q2 next year. No, for Last of Us too.
Well, here's my question to you, to either one of you. Either one of you taking a day off for that game?
I want to. I probably can't, but I want to so badly, man. Like,
because that's one of those, and maybe that's the episode we would have to talk about down the road. Games that you would take the day off for.
That's a good topic, man.
Like
that's a good topic.
Yeah, I think we all agree.
Death Stranding might be one, man. Seriously. I gotta have a 24 hours to myself, but that's true.
Because people I work with that are gamers, and that's the first thing they'll say. They're like, dude, I might have to. I'm not feeling good, and they'll try to go to bed. And I'm like, oh, they're home playing the game.
There are games now where they're coming out where I look at the trailers and I'm like, that's great, but I don't want to know too much about it quite yet because it's so story driven. I was never so proud of myself when I ignored every single article, every single story about Metal Gear Solid 4 before it came out. And when it launches you into that game, I don't know if people really remember, but I mean, you go through these like really disjointed sort of like preamble, like remember it does like those little commercials, the infomercials with David Hayter, and then you're well, what is all this? And then it thrusts you into the, war has changed.
Yeah, right.
And you get thrown in this middle of this battle. I'm like, that's awesome. So I purposely avoided a lot of that stuff. Now, if it's like a driving game, all right, cool, no story. I don't worry about it so much. If it's a fighting game, okay, same thing. But if it's something we're talking about like Days Gone, Last of Us 2, like people are like, Last of Us 2, where's Joel? Is Joel gonna meet him? Where's Joel? Do you really want to know that now? I mean,
but I think the biggest problem is on YouTube, and I think all of you can agree that like some of the people that get the game early, what they do is they put out like they put out spoilers, and I'm like, dude, give it a chance for a freaking at least a week after the game comes out. Then I can understand you putting out levels that you completed, but I think it's becoming more and more annoying, and it makes you not want to go on YouTube, and because for all intents and purposes, for views or ratings, they're trying to put the stuff out before everybody else. And sometimes it's not the best way to do it. Sometimes it's best to wait for the game to come out. Then you might, I'm going to put out this level. Like for the first 2 days, I'll wait for everyone to get the game. And because again, that's annoying as hell. for trailers, like you talked about Metal Gear, the thing I loved about what Kojima did, Kojima put out these little hints without really giving anything away in the game, because I was like, okay, like he would, you know, they had a whole segment where they talked about certain characters, but you never really saw this come to life in the trailer transfer over into the game. It was just its own trailer, but they didn't give anything away. And I like certain game trailers like that where they don't give anything away about the story.
Right.
And like I'm hoping with Last of Us 2 is the same way. It's like I just rather not know and just rather just be
Same.
like, you know, and that's most of any story-driven game, like Life is Strange 2, those games, even Spider-Man. When Spider-Man came out, I did not know what to expect, and when I finally finished it, I was like, wow, freaking great storyline. Same with God of War, freaking great storyline. But no one, like, they didn't give it away in the trailers. They didn't. You just got a little taste of, oh, well, this may be what it's about, and then you got sidetracked when you realize, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be in the trailer.
Yeah. So that makes you kind of want to avoid, like, again, like y'all said, YouTubers and Twitch streamers that actually get those copies early. You know, if you anticipate a game in the future, then definitely do that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, that was my mistake. You know, I was like, okay, I want to see a little bit of it. And I'm like, it messes me up. It spoils the whole, you know, flavor of it. You know what I mean? You want, you know, it's like, all right, well, you know, does it make you want to get the game? I mean, still probably, but at least you know what to expect. You know what I mean? It messes it up. So, yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
What else you got?
Pretty much right now, we want to actually get into a little deep conversation. And we had a couple instances that happened. First off, it was the Madden shooting that happened August 26th around 1:30 in Jacksonville, for those that remember and those that read the article. And there was a gunman. We're not going to mention him. Basically, we don't want to give any praise to him. But we definitely want to remember the victims as well, too. Shot and killed 2, Elijah Trueboy Clayton, he was 22. I remember playing Elijah one game in Madden 2, man. So I got the opportunity to play against him back in the past, and he's a really good player, man. So definitely going to miss him. And also Taylor, Spot Me Please Robertson, he was 27, he was a father. I mean, you got to imagine, dude, like, seriously, how can this event be, or this scenario be prevented? You know what I mean? Is there a way that can, you know, be kind of, you know, contained, you know what I mean, or maintained? What do you guys think?
First of all, I want to open this up to the audience here, and we will stay on this topic as long as we have to and as long as you guys want to. This affected me immeasurably when I heard this happen. So we go to a lot of conventions, the three of us. I'm sure that a lot of the audience members do too. And, you know, we participate in gaming tournaments and things like this. And we have our own, you know, little local parties and things like this and competitions. And we also do a lot of online gaming. And it's hard to know where to begin and where to end on this topic, because obviously, you know, the gaming community does not hold a monopolization on angst. Not by a long shot, and not certainly in this day and age. There's a lot of ill will out there. There's a lot of strife going on. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of racism. There's a lot of just nonsense and general ugliness in the world. But for me, video games always represented a catharsis and an escape from those things, and a sublimation, if that counts as something. You know, instead of going out and taking out frustrations and doing harm to other people or anything like that, I would throw in Grand Theft Auto and, you know, blow some people up, kill some cops, you know, blow up some hookers, and then I was okay, turn the game off and I feel fine. And that's pretty much the most extreme case I can tell you, so far as, you know, what I think video game violence is. Now, when video game violence happens, when real world violence happens around video gamers, that's not video game violence anymore. That's violence. That's actual real world stuff. So I don't know that there's necessarily a correlation between the two, but what breaks my heart is that people that were unsuspecting, innocent people participating in something where they felt safe in a room with their contemporaries, their peers, brothers and sisters and friends. It sickens me to death that this sort of thing happened, and it's heartbreaking all around. You know, I think everything's been said about that. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know what we could have done differently. I don't even know that there's anybody to blame other than the gunman. You know, I feel strongly about my own personal views on gun control and gun rights because I think both things are important. But this was avoidable, and it's sad, and you know, I don't know. But I'm at a loss.
And that's true because it's so weird because there was a lot of red flags as far as you know, what the gunman showed. You know, prior to the event, you know,
he had a lot of prior run-ins with law enforcement. Although I don't know that he had a rap sheet per se, but I know that police had talked to him on multiple occasions prior to this, and I also know that he was on multiple psychotropic drugs and, you know, prescriptions for various mental illnesses and things. Okay, people, that's a fact of life. You know, again, people have disorders, people take medication for things, you know, that's just what it is. But, you know, do we want to mix that sort of thing with the behavior and anger of, you know, somebody who's young and stupid and has a gun?
Yeah.
It's a toxic combination. It shouldn't have been permitted. I know hindsight is 20/20, but honest to God, it really boggles my mind how this guy got his hands on not one, but 2 weapons, carried them into a convention with multiple rounds of ammunition, injured a bunch of people and killed 2, and then turned the gun on himself. I mean, to say that it's not in the spirit of competition and fair play is the understatement of the millennium. So please, let's dispense with that right off the bat. But these 2 guys are dead, man. Yeah. And they're gamers just like you and I. In fact, probably even better. These guys were competing, and they were, you know, at the upper echelon of their gameplay, and you know, now they're no longer with us. Yeah. So first of all, you know, mad love out to them, and you know, they're missed in the community. And I don't want this topic to go away. I don't think it's something we should stop talking about. It only happened a month ago, and people, I don't know, you're really not talking about it anymore. There's no conclusion to this other than that there are 2 extra bodies in the ground. So something needs to be done. I'd love to hear some thoughts on it.
You know, it's a good thought from Jamila in the chat too, and shout out to Jamila. She says that people have really weak constitution these days. They are taking friendly games of competition to a whole new level. It'd be pretty much, it's what we agree on. My question is a healthy decline of, is healthy competition declining now?
All right. I apologize to you guys.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna hijack this whole thing.
Go ahead, do your thing.
Okay. Number one, I don't care what it is that you compete in and what kind of atmosphere that you choose to, you know, participate, not participate. Don't engage in an activity where the threat of failure is present and you ignore it. Absolutely. And can't address it from the get-go. Don't play basketball unless you want to get dunked on. Do not participate in martial arts unless you know that there is a potential for you to get hit. Look, it comes with the territory. Anything worth doing and doing well presents a high degree of failure. And that's what makes success feel so good. If you can get through those things and you can face yourself and be the best competitor you can be and still be honorable about it, then you win every time. You're making yourself better. You're making the community better. But why would you want to set yourself up for that? I know when I get into anything, any game I play, anybody I play online, I automatically think there's a potential I'm going to lose, but I'm going to try my best at this and do what I got to do and walk away from it. Maybe I'll surprise myself. But isn't that what every single thing in life is about? Isn't that everything that we do? I'm sorry, I'm totally stealing this conversation, but no, yeah. I'd love to hear somebody explain to me why it would be that you can't go into a situation where, oh my God, I didn't know that there was a potential for me to lose. I better go shoot the place up. If you pretend for a minute that he didn't go in there with intent, then you're lying to yourself. He had these guns in his car, okay? He went to this thing. He was not carrying them on his person for self-protection at the time. He lost, went out to his car, grabbed guns, went back in, shot the place up. This is one of those cases where he bought guns with intent. When you buy guns, you have an intention from the get-go, okay? You will eventually sort of make your own self-prophecy. You're going to figure out a way. If you have violent tendencies and you have that going on in your head, but you lie to yourself and say you're going to get guns for protection, whatever, you know, you're going to stand your ground, you're going to kill some kid that's carrying some Skittles down the street with a hoodie, you know, what's the line? Where's the line drawn? So I know we're getting off the topic of video games, but this is getting way too real for me. And that would dissuade me from wanting to go to something like this. I mean, honestly.
That's true. That's true, and it's hard for me as well too, because I like to go to public tournaments as well. You know, we was talking about that pre-show. You know, I've been going to Madden tournaments since '01. You know what I mean? And passionate about this game. And to think, man, if I was there, you know, what would happen? If it could be anywhere, really. It could be really anywhere. Matter of fact, Joseph Cleveland says that, you know, society doesn't understand honor and respect no more, you know what I mean? Which is true, you know? And to pick on your point, Joseph, because when it says that it shouldn't happen there because of security, the GLHF bar that happened in Jacksonville, it was, like I said, it's just a bar. There was no security whatsoever. That's where EA had their tournament, you know? What if they had a tournament at where the Jaguars play? Usually that's where a lot of tournaments usually play, is at the stadium. The last one I played was at Eagle Stadium, you know what I mean? It was at Lincoln Financial, you know, so, but it's still, the EA had their set on that GLHF bar. It's like a little gaming bar. No security, no metal detectors whatsoever. I mean, could that have prevented it? I mean, I don't know what you guys think.
Well, what are you supposed to do? Put metal detectors every single place you go? I mean, it was only a couple of years ago where just before one of the Batman movies started, some guy went in with orange hair and shot the place up. Shortly after that, some white kid went into an all-black Baptist church in South Carolina. Help me out here. I might be wrong about that.
Mm-hmm.
He walks in and kills 9 people. These are unarmed people. And it's sociopathy and it's anger. Okay? These people don't go after armed people. They don't want a fair fight. They're catching people off guard and they're slaughtering them. And if that is not premeditated murder, and if that is not the epitome of human evil, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this happened this time in a gaming atmosphere, but it's also happening in elementary schools.
Yeah. This happened anywhere.
You know, these are predators. These are real human predators. They have no regard for life. Now, I don't want to be one of those people that I'm looking over my shoulder every 5 seconds because, I mean, you know, nobody wants to live like that, and you don't want to be a shut-in. But, you know, at some point, you got to start thinking to yourself. It was, you know, only post 9/11 when people would look around airports for suspicious activity, and the government encouraged you to do so. If you see something, say something. Well, you don't always get that kind of warning, as we've seen. This stuff goes on all the time. I think there was another shooting just last week somewhere. You know, I mean, we had the Vegas shooting, we had this, you know, Columbine, and Sandy Hook, and, you know, come on. Really what has to happen, and I'll say my piece on this and then I'm going to get done. Politicians who we have elected to represent the best interests of all of our communities, whether you're a video gamer, cosplayer, pro athlete, you're just going to school, you're a parent, you're a father, you're a grandfather, you're anybody on this planet, you have elected people to represent your best interests and to protect you. They need to start doing that. They need to start protecting us. Legislatively, law enforcement-wise, I think things just need to be stepped up. We're a big country with a lot of people and, unfortunately, a lot of anger and potential. And not all those things can coexist, so something certainly needs to be done. So
that's true. That's true. You know what? And it's like I said, it's sad how, you know, just that society is like it's somewhat declining as well. It's a connection with the next story, and I want you guys to put on this well too. So and listen to this chat. It's so funny because Michael Alaparty, who's 45 years old, right, was arrested after threatening an 11-year-old child for losing to him in Fortnite. Fortnite, popular, you know, free-for-all. So
an 11-year-old beat a 45-year-old.
Beat a 45-year-old.
And then the 45-year-old threatened to.
So check this out. So police said that after the loss, he threatened the boy through text and online, like how people get salty and go on PS chat, whatever. With voice messages, he says he's going to come to his school and shoot him. You gotta be an idiot. He was arrested that moment, man. Like seriously, you know, arrested that moment. Like I was saying, like where's the healthy competition at? You know what I mean? There is no such thing now. You know, like we're at an age where that's why I miss being in arcades. You know what I mean? With that interaction. You know what I mean? That close encounter. You know, hey, I can talk trash to you, but hey, we'll go out for some ice cream or whatever, soda pop. I don't care. You know, that is done. Now it's like we're behind. We're solid. We're in solitude, solitary confinement, behind TVs, behind closed doors. and we can do whatever we want. We can say whatever we want. You know what I mean? I've been through that whole situation. You know what I mean? There's like no such thing. Like
Eric, what's the solution?
It's not like, you know, I as someone who witnesses this kind of stuff on the daily, my whole thing is basically apathy, and it comes down to using common sense. The respect level that we had coming up in our generation, the last two generations, has declined, and like we both had mentioned, the problem is it goes back to the source of being raised, how you're raised and everything. And it goes back to the parents. You know, the people are like, oh, well, they always want to blame violence in video games, violence in video games. No, I blame the parents that raising these kids and the kids that become adults. Again, there was a time when you would go on the streets, you fist fight. It wasn't about who had the bigger gun. It was about you put your hands up, whoever won, shake hands, move on. But now it's about, oh, well, I'm going to pull a gun. And it's transferred over to, and I'm going to keep it real, unfiltered. I'm going to keep it unfiltered. A lot of cats out there need to get a backbone and stop freaking being big ass pussies.
That's true.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these guys out here, and I'm talking about the guys, a lot of them need to get a backbone and start understanding that when you lose, take it like a man, move the hell on. I'm sick and tired of all these cats out here who want to turn around and this, you know, I lost the game, so I'm going to shoot you up. Freaking cowards.
Yep.
To me, they're all cowards. If you got to pull out a gun to prove a point because you can't win a game, a simple game that you're playing, a friendly, competitive game, and you got to be crazy enough to pull out a gun, then you don't need to be playing a game. You don't need to be doing any of that. You need to sit in a corner somewhere because the simple fact is you don't deserve it. And a lot of these cats out here that I see are cowards. A lot of them, like you said, they hide behind the TV screen. They hide behind a computer. They don't have the heart enough to say it to your face or my face and all. And like I said before, this is the biggest problem. Communication, interaction. People use social media way too much and not talking to each other. I can be in a room with you right here. I'm texting you a question. And I'm like, I'm right here next to you. This is the kind of society that we're coming into. You got to know how to discipline yourself with social media, with video games. Know how to communicate with each other. And that's the biggest problem. People do not know how to communicate with each other. And because of that, they're only a lot of these people that don't have the mental capacity to be able to say, to distinguish that, okay, I lost the game. I move on, shake hands, and move on, try to beat them in the next time. No. My only logic is because I don't know how to communicate right with people, and because I wasn't brought up that way. Oh wait, here's a gun. This is my way of showing you that I'm going to show you I'm a winner anyway. You end up being a loser anyway.
Right. So
the bottom line is, there's no easy answer. There's really none. It comes back because again, it's a revolving door. It's everything since 9/11 has changed. Let's be realistic. Okay, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, whether it's Comic-Con, Gaming Con, whether it's a movie, whether it's a sports game, or what have you, you need to have security around you because, like movie theaters, we were talking about this. You can't go to most movie theaters nowadays and get dressed up just to have fun. No, because some idiot wants to try to, oh, look, I'm wearing red hair. I want to shoot up a theater. What's the point? Because you're trying to prove a point that you could be a supervillain? So the bottom line is, we as a society have to be more vigilant. That's something that's been said.
We're gonna start looking after each other.
Yeah, and having more apathy for each other and respecting each other. Somewhere along the line, we forgot that. And in today's politics and everything that's going on, and not trying to get off a topic, but it's seeping into the game community. It's seeping into a lot of the pop culture community. And the gaming community even more so, because you have a lot of people that do multiplayer online and all, and they always talk trash. People are going to talk trash. But then when you take it to the level where I'm going to come into your house and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, that's when you take it too far. And for me, a guy like me, you guys I know especially, I'm not, look, I'll tell you to your face how I feel about you behind the computer, in front of the computer, outside the computer, to your face, period. But I'm man enough not to use a weapon or a gun to prove my point. Okay, I'd rather use this than this. to get my point across.
I have to give kudos to the Pass the Controller crowd out there, because I mean we've been doing this now for the better part of almost 5 months now.
Yeah.
And I don't see the ugliness on our website or in these conversations or in these orbits as you would on some other social media sites.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're not that popular yet. But
soon.
What I like is that you don't see the garbage on there. You don't see a lot of the negativity. Not even, I mean, we're not that way anyway, but from you guys, because there are a lot of great sites out there and fan sites and things where all you see is arguments. I don't understand it. You all love this thing, but you all fight about it all the time. It's weird. It's a duality to me. Like if you go on like the Metal Gear fan club or Dead by Daylight fan club, these fan sites, they profess to be fans, but all they do is bash that thing and other gamers. And I'm like, I don't understand that at all.
It's become a tribal thing.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's become a tribal thing. Like, oh well, my way of thinking has to be you have to think like me. And if you don't like this game because I like it, then you're wrong. And I'm gonna tell you wrong. And you're like, wait a second, I don't like the game. What's the problem? Because you don't like the game, and you gotta like the game because and you're like, whoa. We can agree to disagree. No, we can't because my way is right way. No. And that's where the problem is. People need to get a backbone. People need to stop and put their egos aside and start realizing that people are not going to think like you think. We don't care that you agree with us or not. We don't care that you don't like Life is Strange 2 or you don't like God of War. You might like Spider-Man better than God of War. We don't care. We just care the fact that you're talking about why you don't like it. Yeah. And we're like, okay, that's one point of view. And that's a cool point of view because we respect it. And that's what the thing is. When you put your points of view on our show, we respect it. We don't have to always agree, but we respect it. But it doesn't mean that we're going to come down to your lowest common denominator because you decide to be all like Brody online and tell, well, you got to like, please. Again, I tell people this all the time on my sites and all. Yo, you don't have to agree with me. It's my page, so I'm going to say what I want to say. You go on your own page and say what you want to say. I'm not going to go on your page and tell you, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, we can have a conversation. And that's what it comes down to. Having conversations. When you're playing a game and you lose the game to the other person, hey, man, good game. Good game. That's how you do it. For those who are not educated enough to know better. I got that
last night. I was playing a game online out, and I was playing. It was a versus mode. I ended up, taking out this other team. And the one guy, in the end, he beat me, but I scored higher. But he hit me up. He private messaged me. He's like, hey, man, good game. And I was like,
yeah, right.
Thank
you surprised by that.
And then we were cool. And I'm like, yo, I play this game a lot. Mind if want to friend up and we'll play. He's like, oh, yeah, cool, because he's like, you played fair. You didn't, sandbag. He goes, I did get you in the end. I was like, you did get me in the end. I'll play you again. So,
and you know what? And that's how you develop real true friendship. Yeah. And I'm gonna just say one more thing, and then we move on to the next thing. I respect anyone out there, and more so when you don't agree with me or us, and we have more respect for you because you're not just jumping on our bandwagon and just saying, yeah, I agree with Brian said, yeah, I agree with Smoke said, yeah, I agree with Knuckles said. But at the same token too, we can respect that more because of the fact that you have a different point of view. It's great that you agree with us and then you like stuff that we like, but it's even better when you're saying, well, no, I don't agree because of this, that, and the other, and we have a friendly conversation. I end up respecting more people that have a differences of opinion without having to try to flex on or try to act like they're flexing. And I respect you more because we can have a dialogue and we become better friends and more respected. And if the world and people in general were like that, the world would be a better place. Our country would be a much better place because you can have differences of opinion and be more respectful.
And you see, we went 10 whole minutes without even talking about Kojima.
How about that?
That's how important. That's how important this topic is. We didn't mention Metal Gear for 10 whole minutes.
Praise Kojima. Now we did. But you know what though? Like just to end it, like Jamila in the chat, you actually was on point, man. It's a really good statement where you said that common sense is a superpower that many don't possess, man. And that's a really great statement.
It's an oxymoron because first of all, common sense is completely uncommon.
Yeah.
It's like I used to say, what is common sense politics? And people are like, there's no such thing. No, there used to be.
It's like military intelligence.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
or politics, but we're getting off topic.
Yeah,
but
right.
let's move on to the next
Absolutely,
thing.
man. So we're going to talk about common sense, man. Nintendo has some common sense, man. And we're going to actually throw it to Brian, because I know Brian was affected, man, because Nintendo had Emuparadise shut down, man. What in the world going on? Man, now, I want to see, because, you know, Civic Minded has always dabbled in retro game emulation as well, too. You know, he actually gifted me and Smoke, man. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Anyway, but we're going to see actually two sides of the coin. Like, why is that wrong, but why is that right? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, go ahead.
All right, so we'll strip all the technical stuff away from the conversation, and for those of you that don't know, we'll kind of parse through this basically. So, for those of you that don't have original hardware systems, say if you don't have your original Nintendo Entertainment System or your original Genesis or your Atari Lynx or anything like that, but yet you really want to play those games, a lot of gamers will resort to emulating those games, which means you get a program for your computer, load the ROMs on there, which you get digitally through various sites, and then you can set it up to play them, through your PC. So it circumvents having to buy the cartridge and the hardware. And one important factor about that is that a lot of these games are either no longer available, or they're so scarce nobody sells them, or they just, they vanished from Earth. They're just not around. So there were a lot of websites for a period of time, some of them better than others, but they would house these ROMs that were free to download. Okay, think about it like, your Napster or something like, what's Napster? You can tell I'm old because I said Napster. Downloading music these days, MP3 files, things like that. So you don't have to go buy a CD or a tape or whatever the hell. You just buy the digital version. Well, that's what a ROM is. So this has been around for a very long time. People have done this for the last 25 years, if not even longer. And it was a really great way for archivists. I use the word archivist because there is a historical aspect to preserving these games. Such as, I tell myself this because it legitimizes what I do. But say if you have all these games, you say, oh, I'm keeping these safe. I want to keep them for my kids and future generations, all that kind of stuff. So great. But besides all that, eventually Nintendo said they're going to enter the market of developing these miniaturized classic systems. So the first one that came out was the NES Classic, which everybody was clamoring for, everybody wanted. And obviously with this miniature system, you didn't have to go buy the cartridges. They had ROMs on them, which means you had, the NES Classic, I think, came with 30 games.
I think so, yeah.
30. So they were the digital versions of these games, aka ROMs. When Nintendo started doing this, they also decided they were going to do away with the Virtual Console for like the Wii, the Wii U.
Right.
They never released it on Switch.
Yep.
So they said, we're going to kill two birds with one stone. We're going to start creating these classic systems, and we're going to start making sure that nobody else can get these, since we're going to recirculate these through the community. We're going to start shutting down some of these ROM sites because that's our intellectual property. So sites like Emuparadise and a lot of these other more popularized sites that you could download them from, they started, getting hit pretty hard with litigation.
Right.
Really hard. And it started with just a couple titles like Metroid, Super Mario, Zelda. Then it started to get into the third-party games, Mega Man, Castlevania, Street Fighter, and then all of a sudden other makers, Sega, NEC, a lot of the other ones. I mean, I think they started to kind of chime in, and eventually it became too much and said, a lot of these places said, we don't make money. We're not selling these ROMs. We're giving them away for free. So they never monetized this service or anything, but nonetheless, because of the litigation and the threats and the cease and desist, a lot of these sites went under or at least deleted the content. So now we're living, okay, now you guys can still download ROMs. You just have to find them on torrent sites. Tell them Brian sent you. Anyway.
Arg, it's good to be a pirate.
But you gotta know, you got to know where to go. Anyway.
But I see that now because now, and emerging to the next topic, which is the Nintendo Direct review, because when they did that online thing, right, when they charging us online, services and all that to play people online, and they said, okay, we're also giving you classic NES games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see why they did that now, man. I was like, that's a great strategy. Well, from Nintendo, basically. So.
Am I kind of butthurt about this? Not really, because I already had them all.
Yeah, right.
But
you gotta think
am I upset that it happened now that other people can't do it? I am a little bit. But I can understand why Nintendo did it. I mean, I'm not a big fan sometimes of their politics. I'm not a fan of the fact that they took some ROMs and then sold them back to people.
Yeah.
That to me is rough. That's a whole other story. We can get into it if you want to. But for now, I think, I understand protecting your intellectual property. Yes, it belongs to them. Yeah. They own it, and it is their right. And you can be upset and butthurt about it, but it is their right. If you made something and somebody else stole it, copied it, and gave it away, you'd be pretty upset.
Yeah, true. But
so I do understand, but it's upsetting because I think that I'd love to know if there was an actual dollar amount attributed to the financial damages.
Well, that's a good point.
I just don't know. I don't know enough about that.
But I mean, at least more specific. I mean, at least don't, okay, let's say we bought Super Mario, you know what I mean? Okay, we got that taken away. Let's say we own the Wii U. Okay, that's taken away. That's gone. Don't resell to us. I mean, let's give us something like a friendlier option, you know what I mean? And it's instead of us buying the same title 10, 18 times, you know what I mean?
That's
it makes no sense.
I think that the solution to this was simply to keep the virtual console. Or how about somebody out there, monetize a ROM site as a subscription site or something kind of like Steam or something like that, or like the PSN store, and say, hey, yeah, we'll sell them to you if you want to do that, and Nintendo gets a big cut. I have a problem with them not being available at all. If Nintendo has something that they're currently making, yes, you shouldn't copy it and sell it and distribute it and all that stuff. But if this is a game that is 30, 40 years old and you can't get it anywhere else except to get it on a ROM, you got to kind of pick and choose your fights. Be like, okay, so you're saying nobody can ever play, the original, Kung Fu ROM of, the arcade version game. I'm like, dude, that's rough. People want to still play that. Some people find somebody who wants to play Kung Fu. It's a hard game, actually. That probably wasn't the best example, but so it's a whole political thing. But yeah, I think I have Nintendo's back on that. How you guys feel? Are we Nintendo? Are we for Nintendo or for the gamers? What's the?
Always the gamers, man.
Always the gamers. Yeah. But if you're a judge in a court of law, how do you rule this? Nintendo says they're all.
You have to go for the company.
Yeah, I hate to, I'm not.
Because they're the ones that originally put out the product, and so. Granted, other people have turned around, fashioned it, and made it into its own, and redistributed it after years after not selling it or putting it back out on the market. So it's a double-edged sword, and being one that owns a lot of the classic games too, I just find it interesting that wait a second, we're making more money because now nostalgia is kicking back in.
Exactly.
And so let's exploit this. Wait a second, these guys. They're putting out all this stuff. We can make money and exploit the gamer. For those who are not in the know. So for those who are not in the know, it's going to hit your pockets. For guys like us that are in the know, not so much. And like I said again, like Brian, I'm not worried about it either because I own most of these games. But it's messed up because now it's like you're tying the hands of people that was trying to help your company out in one hand by letting people know that, hey, this is why this company was so great because these games that they put out, movies were influenced by this. People that wanted to become game developers were influenced by these games. And because some of them had the emulators and were able to play and said, well, you know what? I want to create a game because I was influenced by Nintendo. But now Nintendo's like, hey, how can we pimp the gamer? We're going to pimp the gamer. So, yeah, it's their right, but I think it's kind of messed up. It's like, okay, you break up with your old girlfriend because you weren't happy. You wanted to see what's on the other side of the fence. And, you're like, oh, you're getting treated like crap. And then you're like, wait a second, all these guys are paying attention to the girl I dropped. I want to go back to her. In fact, I'm going to do what I got to do. And you're like, well, dude.
Yeah, but in this example, Nintendo killed the first girl.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she ain't available anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they said, oh, you're not dating anymore? Bang! It's like that meme with what's his name? Like
I know you're talking. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
He shoots a dude on the couch.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's like, you know, you're not giving us much of a choice here, Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know, like and look, yeah, every company kind of jumped on this bandwagon after because they were like, yeah, Nintendo has a point. Gosh darn it. And but they led the charge on it, and the reason I think mostly is predicated upon them bringing out these like these classic systems, which everybody's talking about now. They're like, yo, I can't wait for the
Give it time. I guarantee you.
N64 classic, and I'm like, don't hold your breath. I am gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna channel my inner Michael Pachter here.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say there's not gonna be one. I think the classic systems are done.
Yeah.
You have no idea how hard it is.
You don't think they're going to do like a Sega Dreamcast or something? Or?
Right? Emulate? No, I'm saying the N64.
Oh, that's okay.
The N64 will not. You record all this now. You can show it to me later. They are not going to make a classic version of the N64. You guys that are waiting for it, I'm sorry to tell you, they're not going to do
happening, man.
It's way too hard to emulate those games.
Yeah.
They're bigger files.
True.
The hardware that was used to create them was so weird. The programming language for the N64 was arcane. They're not going to emulate it. I know it was a cartridge system. People think, oh, it's probably easy. No, it is not. Even modern day emulators have a very, very hard time because there was so much going on with in the background of those games. You're not going to see it. So all y'all want to play GoldenEye, just
just buy the system from like a convention.
Which, by the way, I just talked about GoldenEye today. It was my number 10th favorite game of all time, guys. So if you haven't been following, I've been counting down my top favorite 50 games on our website. So. You know, it's all slanted. It's just my opinion.
Definitely check out the review on Pass Control, Ptc Gaming Show on Facebook, man. So you definitely look at top 50 games.
We all agree we love GoldenEye, right?
Absolutely. I was like, thank you, man. You put it on the top 10. It gotta be top 10.
It's the cream of the crop now. Y'all gonna see some stuff in that top 10. Y'all gonna see some stuff.
Oh, I know. I better see Resident Evil in there.
Oh man, dude.
Nope.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Resident Evil is not in my top 50.
Oh,
see.
Sorry.
But you know what? That's what it is. We live in a retro age, and like going back to the Nintendo Direct that was showcased in.
Are you talking about the original Resident Evil?
I'm talking about Biohazard.
Wait a minute. We got a whole. Wait.
I'm talking about Biohazard.
I'm gonna tell you.
We're gonna say that for the October episode.
I was not a fan of the original Resident Evil.
What, the American or Japanese?
Both on the PS1.
Oh.
The reason why the control was horrible. It was like playing RC Pro-Am or driving a truck at the same time. I'm like, the voice acting was bad. I hope that this is not Chris's blood. Here, Jill, I will give this lockpick to you, the master of unlocking things. Every 10 seconds, you'd be walking through a door where it would just stand still for a couple minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of.
And then you're in a room with nothing going on. Resident Evil is one of the most overrated games of all time. Mix the potion with the herbs, turn the clock, move the statue. I'm like, it has nothing to do with anything. Like, there's nothing to do. It's boring.
I will have to say this.
Boring.
I will have to say this. For its time when it came out, we didn't have horror video games really, other than the Sega game that came out that night. Yeah, the Sega
System Shock.
Yeah, well, you know, hey, look, I mean, no, but we didn't have the horror games like we do now. We have a variety of horror games,
right?
But we didn't have it. So when Resident Evil came out, that was like, to me, it was groundbreaking at the time because it was nothing done like that before, and that kind of opened the door for a wave of other horror games that felt like Silent Hill, and so basically for me, I tried to get my hands on any kind of horror game that I could. So the first horror game,
the first horror game I remember was Haunted House on the 2600.
Now I want to say this: I thought they were really cheap with the cover by using Sylvester Stallone's body from Judge Dredd,
right?
And then you change the face and put someone else's face on there.
It's horrible.
And I was like, "This dude, really?"
That was one of the worst.
That was bad. That was bad. But I'd rather had the Biohazard like cover from Japan.
But every Japanese cover is better than every American.
Well, that's
cover.
true too.
All of them. People are like, "Which one do you like better?" The answer is all of them. Japan gets the best cover artwork and promotional posters and advertising you will ever see. It beats everything in the U.S. every single time.
That's true.
I challenge anybody out there, if you can find for me a better example of a U.S. game cover than the Japanese rendition. And I know that that's all very subjective and opinionated, but I would love to see an example. I mean, you can even go back to like go look for the Castlevania games. Just do that. Symphony of the Night. Just go back and look at compare covers.
Yeah.
Do that. Street Fighter games for NES. Yeah, they were way different, dude. Way different. They're much better in Japan. Anyhow, we have gotten way off the rails. I'm sorry, Mark. Yeah, we're just hijacking.
This is what we call it.
Exactly.
This is why our show is so
We'll let you know what we think, man.
We go against the grain.
But you know what though? It's the same thing as a normal point, because that's why I guess a lot of companies are now focused on retro gamers now, or they're trying to bring back retro titles and stuff like that. The Nintendo Direct, matter of fact, on the 13th, actually they said it's gonna bring out a Capcom beat 'em up bundle. Did you see that? It was a Capcom beat 'em up bundle. I'm gonna tell you what games they have.
Can you do me a favor first? Can you tell me about Nintendo Direct? I do not have a Switch, so I don't really know all the ins and outs of it.
Well,
is it kind of like PlayStation Now? Is it like a subscription?
No, Nintendo Direct is pretty much like a private briefing for those that is pretty much that are Nintendo fanatics. You know what I mean? It was a private briefing.
So it's like the PlayStation experience.
Basically, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It was broadcast by Shinya Takahashi. So he pretty much hosted the whole thing. And he brought out a lot of upcoming games, upcoming updates for Nintendo Switch that's coming up soon. The online service as well. But there was one point I wanted to bring out to you. It was a Capcom beat 'em up bundle that Nintendo is going to bring to the Switch. They're bringing out Final Fight, The King of Dragons, Captain Commando,
Nice.
Knights of the Realm,
Nice. I love that game.
Warriors of Fate, Armored Warriors, and Battle Circuit. Now, I haven't played these games yet. You know what I mean? I know this is past my time and all that.
Played any of them?
I played, of course, Final Fight and
right.
Captain Commando. Yeah, I did. Yep.
Okay.
So I played those, but I'm going to try to before. I'm not going to get the bundle because you say I got it. But I want to test these out, man. The only thing is, which is so unique, is that you can do 4-player for the Switch. You know, if you have 2 Joy-Cons, let's say if I bring my Joy-Con over to your house, smoking it, you can take it out, and then each side of the Joy-Con, me, you, Civic, and whoever, if one of y'all want to play, we can actually play it. Or if it's not locally, you can play it online with 3 other people, which is so awesome. It's like, yo, I like a beat 'em up online capability. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
This is the part where I should probably tell him that bundle is already available on the PlayStation Network.
Man, I knew it. I knew
That's
it.
on the trailer on this.
I knew it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the world? I was like, I swear I've seen this.
I just wanted.
I swear I've seen this before. I swear I've seen this before, man. And I'm like, come on, dude. Oh my god.
I love companies when they bring out bundles of like the retro games. Yo, do you remember? Okay, so back on the PS1, Midway, they used to do the Midway Classics, like this compilation, and you could get like, there were different volumes, and each one would have at least like 5 games on them, and they were good. So you're getting like Frogger and Pac-Man. No, Pac-Man. Midway.
Yeah.
It's not Mid. Yeah, it's not gonna be Pac-Man. No, Namco Classics. I'm so sorry. I screwed that up. It was Namco Classics. Midway also had compilations, but they were different ones. So both companies did them. I was thinking of the other one. But yeah, so you would get all those cool games, and you would, play them to your heart's content. So I love when companies do stuff like that. Like they had the Street Fighter collection that just came out.
That's right.
Had like every Street Fighter game, up until prior to Street Fighter 4.
Yeah. It's like living in a retro era, man. Like it's coming back now.
Look at all the Capcom just did all the Mega Man games.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was awesome. I was like, yeah, that's the way you should do it.
Yeah.
So that's what Nintendo, kind of like coming full circle here, that's what they can do. If they don't want ROMs out there, fine. Re-release the games for people to buy. We'll buy them.
Yeah.
We'll buy them. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, true.
So yeah.
I mean, I would love for them to do a whole Doom collection from the original, all the Dooms up to present, up until like the last game. That would be ultimate. That would sold.
Yeah, that's true.
So it would be smart for any of these developers that had a game series that lasted for decades up to present
Do like
to
an
be able to
anthology.
do an anthology or a
Yeah.
collection.
That's true. Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, you'll make mad bank
Mhm.
for people that never were introduced when the games came out, and for the people that are current gamers that had the games back in the day.
Well, like you were saying, with, like Fist of the North Star.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like if you
but they're
do-
smart. They were smart about throwing in
Yeah.
all those games, and you're still getting the bang for your buck. So they're not only throwing in, they're throwing in the Game Boy version. I remember having the Game Boy version of Fist of the North Star.
Right.
It was like, oh my god, and they have it in the game. You go to arcade and you're playing those games.
I have some trivia for everybody here if y'all want to know. So there was a Fist of the North Star game that came out for the Sega Master System, but when it was Americanized, they called it a different title, and it was so generic, the title, but it was Fist of the North Star.
Right.
I remember.
It was called Black Belt.
That was
It
really.
was a side scroller, and they genericized, characters. He was just, he just wore like a white gi.
Mhm.
He just looked like a regular karate guy.
Yeah.
And then you would fight these boss fights.
Right.
And all the characters would have like a little bit of a, semblance to like Fist of the North Star. But yeah, so in Japan, that same game was I think it was the first Fist of the North Star game ever
Mhm.
made.
Right.
But when they Americanized it, people were like, the Americans, they're not going to know what Fist of the North Star is. Let's call it Black Belt. And it was a solid game. I liked it, man. So go home and play Black Belt.
Okay.
But
All
it's
right,
going to be more likely to be in the game.
Yeah.
They'll probably have
Because they
the
showed it in
original
the trailer.
version.
They showed the trailer of him in the arcade playing some of the classic games. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing some. Oh my
Nice.
god, dude!
Nice.
I mean, but besides all the other mini games that are in the game, so I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
See,
Right.
I love when modern games give a little bit of fan service to older games too.
Mhm.
Like in the newer Wolfenstein games, in
Yep.
those games is like you can play the original games. Like when he goes into
the
that
flashback.
Blazkowicz goes into the flashback, and it's
Yeah.
like the old school, like the DOS version of
Yeah.
of like Wolfenstein 3D. It's like so cool,
That's
man.
dope.
You're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
Or even Doom. Oh, I hope they do Doom. I hope they do a Doom collection because again, that's another game that
Yeah.
I freaking love.
Yeah.
Oh my god, don't get me started. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Or Metal Gear Solid 4 when he's in the helicopter and he has the flashback to Shadow Moses Island. Look at that!
That'd be
We
so- yeah,
we
that'd be
almost
dope.
went 10
Well, you know what?
minutes at a time without talking about
I
Metal Gear.
know you
Let's
and I both own the collection. Like not only did we buy the
yeah.
individual games,
Yeah.
but we got the collection box because I got both for the PlayStation and for when they came out for Xbox. I was like, whoa, they came out for Xbox. I'm like, okay, I gotta buy it. I just bought it because I'm a Kojima fan.
What I
But,
really
okay.
love to see is if Nintendo wanted to make mad bank, take all of your Metroid games and cut them together, make a supercut, all in their original form, but put them on one disc or something and play them through chronologically where all the story kind of so yeah, you're playing some of the more modern games that were prequel games before the ones that were on the NES and after the ones that were on the, what I mean?
Smart.
So like, man, you can just play through the entire series
Right.
in its actual real chronological
And we know you
order.
developers are listening to this, so we know.
Oh,
Wait,
they-
if you're not listening
They're-
right
they're
now, you
taking
will
notes
find
right
out.
now, man.
Yep.
They're-
And they'll watch it when it
That's
comes
a
out.
swell idea. I should call.
You know what? It's so
Why?
funny because
I'll call Telltale Games
D.
and get right on it.
D. Joseph Cleveland on chat actually asked you guys a question. He said, "Did you ever play the arcade Fist of North Star where it had to pass a punch for 1,000 punches? Did you ever play that?"
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Oh man,
Wow.
I got a YouTube.
Why don't
man.
we can,
Yeah, shoot.
what's it called again?
It's just an arcade version of Fist of North Star, so we gotta actually look that up. I guess.
Oh, I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, I'm a
YouTuber.
YouTuber as
I'm
well.
checking that out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and play it.
Exactly, man.
That's
But-
why we
but-
like ROM.
Exactly, man. But you know what though? Rest in peace to Emuparadise, man. Rest in peace also to Telltale Games.
Yeah,
Listen, man, that sucked what happened. If you guys didn't know, Telltale Games is pretty much one of the probably the oh my god. If you ever played the Walking Dead series, that's probably one of the biggest Telltale game, including like Wolf Among Us and Guardians of the Galaxy. Which oh my god, they made so many titles.
They did one thing, and they did it extremely well. They basically brought to life all of the choose your own adventure books we used to have as kids.
Exactly.
Remember the choose your own adventure books when you'd be flipping through and you would get to a page and it would say, if you open the treasure chest, flip to page 67.
Yeah.
If you walk by and don't open it, go to page 50 and you would go. And so every time you read through that book, you were getting a different, and then, that sort of like became like what became like the text-based, games on PC and things like that. But Telltale took it to the nth degree and made it so that you were essentially playing a live action comic book.
Beautiful.
Oh, so good. It was all quick time events. I hate that we're talking about Telltale in the past tense. It feels so weird.
It's weird,
But anyway, so this was their MO for years. I think they were founded in 2004, and every single game kind of had that same formulaic feel to it, where you were just picking, various choices and replies and dialogue, and then doing some quick time events. Very easy games, very fun. But yeah, it was announced just last week that they are officially done.
That's crazy, man.
They laid off all of their staff except for 25 people, and that's it for them. No more games. So they're struggling right now to find a solution to.
I thought they were doing crowdfunding.
Now, here's the funny thing, because I stalked their Twitter. It's funny as crap, right?
You got some late breaking news?
So
you got some late breaking news?
So here's the funny
Tell me
thing.
we're gonna get episodes 2 and 3 out of this last season, because we
Man, hold your heart. Put it this way. So again, they laid off over 275 employees, no severance pay while working long hours. It sucks, right? So this is according to Twitter account.
Konami there.
Basically, you know what I mean? Like, he who shall be not named. But anyway, so Telltale, according to Twitter, they put out a statement. They said Telltale Games made the difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges. A majority of the company's employees were dismissed earlier this morning, back last week, with a small group of 25 employees staying to fulfill the company's obligations to its boards and partners. Now, the CEO, Pete Hawley, stated, he says, it's been an incredibly difficult year for Telltale as we work to set the company on a new course. Unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales, which we can see pretty much. With a heavy heart, we watched our friends lead today to spread abroad the storytelling across the gaming industry. Now, that was that last week when they, pretty much let everybody go. This was 4 days ago. 4 days ago, they put out another statement. It says, hi, everyone. We have a Walking Dead update for you. All right, here we go. Multiple potential partners have stepped forward to express interest in helping to see the final season through to completion. While we can't make any promises today, we are actively working towards a solution that will allow episodes 3 and 4 to be completed and released in some form. In the meantime, episode 2 will be released. So they didn't give up on Walking Dead.
Give it to Square Enix.
Yeah, Square Enix, you're right. Don't nod, what I mean? Like, seriously.
Those guys can knock it out, or Santa Monica Studios.
Yeah.
Because I think that, if I want somebody to complete The Walking Dead, I want the writing team from God of War to do it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's true. That's true.
Here's the reason why Telltale went under. And when I say this, it's not because I have any kind of inside track. It's because it's common sense.
Mm-hmm.
The most popular, best-selling thing they ever made was the Walking Dead series.
Right.
They came out with The Walking Dead, and it was Game of the Year when it came out. It was phenomenal, and it was groundbreaking.
Right.
And so they said, let's make another one. So they made another one. Did really well. Everybody, mostly liked it. It was really cool, and it followed, a different character. And then they made another one. And then they made a spin-off for Michonne, and then they made DLC.
Right.
And then they did all this other stuff. Then they did a New Frontier with a whole other cast. And that, okay. You're intelligent people. What's the problem with that model? You're not going to get new people. You're only going to lose people. You don't acquire a new audience over time doing the same thing, unfortunately. Now, I'm a big fan of that series. I bought every single piece of DLC. I bought every episode, every story. But let's say, hypothetically, after the first season, you didn't like it.
Right.
Nobody new is going to buy the next one. You can only hope that you maintain the current level. So if I sold, I'll simplify it. So I sold 1,000 with my first time around. Everybody liked it. Next time, I could probably only expect best case scenario, about 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more if it got really great reviews. Most probably, though, less. Because most people are content with the story how it is. Like, most people can walk away. These are assumptions, but this is how things are. It's just basic market common sense. You're not creating a new audience. Now, they made other games. They made, a Game of Thrones game.
Right.
They made a Guardians of the Galaxy game. They did Wolf Among Us. They did Borderlands. Tales from the Borderlands is probably
Batman too, yeah.
Batman. I'll tell you honestly, like, as much as I like Walking Dead, my favorite one is Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah, yeah.
It is so good.
Yeah.
But that is, they painted themselves into a corner, because if you do one thing and do it extremely well, that's great. But other companies started doing that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Life is Strange is, I mean, they out Telltale.
Yeah,
I mean, they just did. It's like,
basically.
I didn't think it was even possible, but so good. Detroit, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Detroit Become Human.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about, like, that game still has potential for Game of the Year.
Yeah,
It's going to come
true.
down to that game, God of War or Spider-Man.
Right.
Because so many.
It's a
I mean,
lot,
it's
yeah.
so
many
good.
scenarios.
Wait till Red Dead comes out too. It's gonna be, oh, dude, I can't wait for the game about Game Awards, man.
But that's the thing with Telltale. They were mismanaged. They had a lot of litigation issues. They had, some bad working environment situations, and ultimately.
But let me ask y'all a quick question, because ultimately, The Walking Dead sold 8.5 million copies, man. 1 million
More
on the
than
first.
1,000, like I said.
Yeah, right. But it was 1 million on the first day. You know what I mean? Now let me ask you this: as the seasons kept going, do you think that they was losing sales because of people getting burnt out on The Walking Dead altogether? Like it's not even just the game, but the franchise itself, like the actual show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'll stop watching The Walking Dead after that Negan.
I think they went to the well too many times.
Yeah.
That's really, I mean, yeah, it's a great series, but they really went a little too far. I think if they would have kept it like, we're going to do three seasons. We're going to do the story of Lee and Clementine.
Right.
Clementine is a tween, and then her as a teenager into like her later years. Okay, that's good. Every good story has 3 acts. That would have been enough. But they really wanted to, they really milked it, and they did it well. Like, they're good games, but man, after a while, you're kind of like, okay, let's finish this thing.
I think it was saturated too much, especially with the series. They weren't respecting the fans and the material. They weren't respecting the original material. Then you did the other Walking Dead spinoff.
You're talking about the show.
Yeah, for the shows, and you're not respecting the fans. So the fans are going to read the Fear of the Walking Dead, and people are not respecting. You got producers not respecting the material. They're killing off characters that were canon in the books, and now they're talking about killing off Rick and everything else. So of course, fans that were fans of the TV show are going to fall off, and those same fans that might have been playing the game are like, well, man, they're not respecting. What are they going to do with the with the game? And look what's happening now. So this is me personally. Less is better, and I think, like, I owned the first 2 seasons of Walking Dead, the video game, and loved it. Brought tears to my eye. I wanted to see what happened with Clementine, but then after a while, after the 2nd season, they kind of just, okay, I needed to decompress from it. Play some other Telltale games like Batman and everything, which is great games. But again, after a while, it's the same thing. Like with Detroit, those games in particular, I use Detroit as an example, have so many different ending scenarios.
So replay, man.
And it's so much of a higher replay value. Where basically Walking Dead, you had maybe 3 choices. Where you had Detroit, you had like 20 or 30 choices, and in those choices, there are other choices that can affect the whole entire game, whether you're in the game or not. And so you really had to put the time and effort. Granted, but kudos to Telltale for putting out those kind of games.
See, I read
and set the term for these games.
I read an article today, and I honestly forget where it was. I'll try to repost it if I can find it.
Yeah.
But the writer had a really good point. He also said that Telltale games rely very heavily upon the illusion of choice. So every time, like, it says, "Handsome Jack will remember that," or or your relationship with the Joker has changed. Okay, a little bit, but it's really not affecting the ultimate outcome. It may give you a little bit different dialogue, but ultimately the end is the same.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part. there's no drastic change. They're not divergent depending on your choices. They're convergent. You know, no matter what you pick, you're kind of all it's cyclical. It comes back around to the same general end anyway.
Almost kind of like Mass Effect when you were doing all that hard work with Mass Effect.
Yeah.
You get to the third act, which is the third game, and you're like, it comes down to you either shooting this thing or not shooting it. You die or you end up floating in space as a molecule. Again, with Detroit, you had so many. And that was the first game.
Well,
like,
I mean,
that I played. It was so, and it was written so well. But these guys wrote pages. What would happen if this? Well, okay, if this person made this choice.
Those are the same guys that did Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain until dawn.
Yep.
Until dawn too. Yeah.
Those are the kind of games where
you never know what to expect.
You really realize that your choices do matter. But like Telltale games, I think that because they're so episodic. And because they have to like still move the plot line towards the general bigger end goal, like again, this writer was brilliant. He said the illusion of choice, because it really doesn't matter. At the end of a Telltale game, it will tell you how many other people chose things that you chose, and maybe your dialogue is a little bit different with key characters and things. But overall, it's generally the same.
Yeah.
There are exceptions. I won't name them. Certain games, like you would kill off a character or something, and for the rest of the thing, they were gone. But for the most part, that's how it is. So,
right.
But I mean, at least they were the ones that set the trend for other games. Like
that's
and
true.
I don't mean it as a diss. It's just an observation.
Yeah.
But you can't continue to do that and have us, beyond that fourth wall, not catch on to the trick. After a while, you're like, oh, it doesn't matter if I make Clementine do this or if I make Batman interrogate this person differently. I'm still going to get that platinum trophy and I'm still going to get an ending. Right. So, that's all it is. But anyway,
but you're right though. Yeah, Telltale did set the tone. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
For a lot of these storyline games, man, and it's just sad, especially how they treated it. I mean, you think about all the people that came from around the world to work at Telltale. But that goes without saying that the employees are not fighting back though. Did you know they're suing Telltale for a class action lawsuit, and not for labor laws, for violating labor laws, man. According to various sources, the complaint was stating that the employees were let go without cause, and cited that the WARN Act. I did not know anything about the WARN Act. I had to research this. The WARN Act, as an example of the company's violations without using an advance notice was given. Now, I had to look up the WARN Act. I had to look at the WARN Act. The WARN Act was the Workers' Adjustment for Retraining Notification Act of 1988, right? It protects employees, their families, and communities by requiring most employees with 100 or more employees, with 100 more employees, like Telltale, to provide 60 calendar day advance notice of plant closings and mass layoffs of employees. They violate the WARN Act.
Federal law?
Yes. Yes. Telltale screwed themselves up. The people are fighting back.
Or at least provide a severance, I would think. Is that is that a caveat to that? Or I would imagine.
I would imagine too, but they never provided a severance to the people that they laid off.
Yeah, what did they give them, like a 30-minute notice to clean out their
and that was it. They were like, no, that was it. So the people are fighting back, and we're just like, oh, come on, like seriously, So I mean, really, if the workers are fighting back, then really that's rest in peace Telltale. Like they're going to get pretty much, burnt to the ground, man. So
well, the big word being thrown around the industry right now is unionize.
Thank you.
It's going to have to happen. I mean, you can't have this continue, and we're pretending like Telltale is the only example of this, but this has happened before. It happened at Kojima Productions. It's happened, at various places where one minute they were there, the next minute they weren't. And you hear these stories in retrospect about terrible working conditions and bad management, things like this. So I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
What do you guys think? To unionize it would be something.
You have to, man. I mean, everything has to, especially with jobs like those. I mean, I can see it now. I mean,
because I think if it were unionized, a lot of these things like closing down, wouldn't have been occurring, or things would have been prevented.
Right.
Even with Konami doing what they did and stuff. Basically, and then people got to start all over again. Even with Star Wars games, like even what's going on with the Star Wars games. You had these people that took the time and blood, sweat, and tears, and all of a sudden, we're going to shut down the company, and not thinking about the people that worked their asses off to keep the to get these games out and all. There are so many games out there right now, like great games that will never be put in our hands because
That's a shame.
for whatever reason, whether it's money or legal reasons, they shut down the company. And they do this build high. I remember when the Star Wars stuff, they were building high. Oh, we're going to revolutionize, and then all of a sudden, the ultimate game, 1414, what was it called? The 1414 game, the bounty hunter game, where it was supposed to be open world and everything, and then boom.
Yep.
Oh, we're not going to do it now. There were so many games that I was looking forward to coming out that developers decided, even with Metal Gear 5, we never got a chance to, and I mean, seriously, do you understand the magnitude, how great that game would have been probably on a larger level?
Listen, I signed a petition to, there's a petition called, Get Me Off the Moon, which is talking about getting Mega Man off the moon for Mega Man Legends, you know what I mean? We wanted Mega Man Legends 3, Capcom shut it down, we was on the upgrade, we signed petitions, dude, it's like, they laid off the people that was involved in the project. Like, come on, man. And it's basically they take it to the fact of people that, I guess the reaction from fans, you know what I mean? It's like Greg Elliott Jr. on the chat. Greg Elliott, thank you so much. He says, a lot of these games was pretty much repetitive and boring, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much review. Plus, he says that they didn't respect the material or the consumers, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing. Thank you, Greg. Like, really, that's the point right there. You know what I mean?
It's not even just, and to his point too, that first of all, that's 100% right, but it even goes beyond that because the respect to the gamer and this respect to the programmers has to be acknowledged. Now, if you're me, I prepaid this season of Telltale's final season of Walking Dead, thinking that we were going to get 4 episodes and a conclusion to this story. And I had no problem doing it because I like to support good companies who do good work. So I was like, I'll prepay it. I know I'm going to be in it for the long haul. And then they tell us after the first episode is released that there may not be a conclusion. And I still had to play the game. I played episode 1 of the final season just this week. And it's bittersweet because I'm like, wow, I might not get an ending to this freaking thing.
Right?
And that's how I felt when I was playing Metal Gear 5 because I was like, I'm like, I hung with you guys. Like, I supported you. I bought your collector's edition. I bought your DLCs. I was like, I'm hyping you. I got, and you're going to tell me you're going to cut it off before the final act? I don't have enough middle fingers to express my anger about that. Yo, somebody, please, like, I heard a rumor that Kojima is going to take the profit. This is a rumor, guys. Yo, just ignore what I'm going to say anyway, but somebody was like, I think what they're going to do is Kojima's going to take the profits from Death Stranding and buy the Metal Gear franchise so he can make. And I was like, as much as that's never going to happen, I applaud your creativity, your speculation, and I hope you're right. Because I'll buy 10. I will buy 10 copies of Death Stranding if it means I can put money in the pocket of the guy who can give us the last act of Metal Gear.
Yo, please.
Or even PT.
Exactly.
Or just Konami. Just apologize.
Konami ain't gonna do that. Konami got too much pride, man. You know that.
Yo.
They got too much pride.
Konami.
Konami, y'all suck in general, basically, man.
I am sorry, Kojima-san, for everything we did. And we need to write that on a blackboard 500 times.
You know what's going to happen when Death Stranding does and blows out all the games? That's going to be Kojima's big middle finger to Konami.
Exactly.
Seriously.
I mean, it is. It almost already is. But I hated this. This feels like it's our generation of like when the Beatles broke up. It's like, y'all have a lot of music. You can make more.
Yeah.
Like our generation. Well, okay, a little more recent. We'll say like NWA or Van Halen when they broke up. It's like, guys, can you please put your crap aside and start making good stuff that we all like and will buy and make you rich? That sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was
too much pride.
You see all that happening, and this is going back to when I was playing Life is Strange. After I finished it, and it's waiting, just like, you want to, go ahead and pre-purchase episodes 2 through 5. I'm like, I'm going to hold out because I don't know what's going to happen, man. Like, I don't know what's good.
All fairness, I did pay the season pass for Spider-Man.
Okay, all right, there you go. I did too. I did too. Like, after the Strand messed that up.
I'm like, okay, that's a hit. There's no way y'all are going to shut that down. Like, unless it's a guaranteed hit, Like if God of War came out with a season pass, I get God of War.
Exactly.
And especially what I love about God of War and Spider-Man, they didn't make you have to buy anything within the game. You just had to earn those points to get all the costumes and stuff like that. I love games like that. And we're not going to get on microtransactions
that's
right
another
now.
time.
That's another subject.
We did it already.
I freaking hate microtransactions.
Exactly.
Episode 2, we talked about microtransactions.
Yeah, check that out. You do get a chance.
Rewind, y'all.
But you know, we got a few minutes left, so basically we're going to just you know, share our final thoughts. And right now, I mean, basically what I want to tell you guys is thank you so much for the input as well. Basically, just going back to like the healthy competition, guys. Just remember, just learn to love each other. You know what I mean? Learn to take you know, this lightly. I mean, we all play games.
Learn to take an ass whipping and not cry about it when you get your ass whooped.
Seriously, just learn to lose.
Spank that ass.
Learn to lose and play another time. Like seriously, but learn to lose and play another day. You know what I mean?
Good.
Get good. Seriously.
That's the whole reason why you are a gamer, to be a better gamer, so you can beat the person that beat you the first time.
Exactly. If you lose, do not let that get to you. Trust me.
I told my son a long time ago. He had frustration with a game, and he had that look in his eye like he was gonna flip out. And he was like maybe 5 or 6. He's a young kid. He was playing this game. He's getting all upset. He couldn't do this one thing. And I took him aside and I said, "We're only gonna have this conversation once. So just listen. If this becomes too upsetting for you, just stop. Or I will take it away. Okay? But if it's not fun anymore, and if you're going to get this upset, maybe we need to put this on pause, and you can do it some other time down the line when you're older and can handle it." He said, "No, Dad, I can do it." And he was cool ever since.
Nice.
But I looked at him, I was like, look, this is supposed to be fun. This is what we do to relax. This is our reward for the hard work we do in life. This is the thing that we do to commune with people around us and meet new friends and share an experience and talk to the audience, and they hear us, and we're just happy to have you. And you know, we're communing over this great thing that we have, that we grew up with and love to death. And if it gets you upset, if it enrages you, if you're taking it so seriously where you have to like use, you know, profanity online and threaten people and go to their house and send SWAT teams after them, you cannot handle this. You are literally a loser no matter how much you win. I know that's kind of like my little G.I. Joe PSA moment at the end there, like knowing it's half the battle. But it is. Yeah. You gotta love this, man. I mean, I've been frustrated in games at times, but I don't throw controllers. I don't get upset. I threw a game in the trash that time. I think I told that story last time. But again, it comes back to that. It's like you have to know your boundaries and respect others. That's it. That's
well said.
That's
man.
easy.
Well said. And you guys, any other final thoughts you guys have as well?
Learn to take an ass whooping.
There you go. We all pretty much in unison.
Learn to take an ass whooping when you
learn to take a loss
and not cry.
Exactly.
God, man.
Exactly.
So many. Don't get me started.
Guys, again, thank you so much, man, for joining us for this episode of Pass Controller. Again, we'll be back. Matter of fact, we'll be back the last Saturday of October. We'll post that on the show notes, man, at the Pass Control website.
No, October 27th?
October 27th, which is the last Saturday of October. So, yeah, we'll post that on the page.
And one more thing. Sure. You might want to give a shout out to your to our takeover, because some
yes, that's it. That's it. Thank you and to you guys that actually watched the Pass Controller invasion of Head Nerds in Charge. Yes, we took that over. Successful. That was an awesome show, man. Thanks to all you gamers out there, man. If you want to check that episode out, it's right in our Pass Controller webpage as well on Facebook, right above. Just go ahead and scroll down a little bit.
See how me and Mark just like trembled.
Yeah, yo. And how they rigged Civic. They rigged Civic, man. They rigged Civic.
We let y'all know.
It was like a 3-0. We pretty much, seriously.
They cheated.
They did not want to give sweat.
We said it.
But guys,
they got scared.
So can we commit to a theme for next month, being as it's Halloween and all? We're gonna do
some horrors, man.
Horrors, yes.
We're gonna do some horrors, man.
I might have to even break out one of my horror costumes.
Oh my goodness, man.
Episode.
Because I'm like playing horror games, so I get scared too. But we're gonna talk about that anyway. So yeah, next October we're gonna talk about a lot of horror games and horror themes, whatever, horror topics. Whatever you guys got, we'll give it to you, man. So make sure that you definitely tune in next month, October 27th, Saturday. Pass Controller. Follow our website, facebook.com/PTC Gaming Show. Follow Instagram, Pass Control PTC Gaming Show as well on Instagram. I'm gonna make a Twitter soon. So, but listen, we want to interact with you guys as well too. So make sure you give us the comments and just inbox us, comment on our page. I don't care. Just keep in contact
and
with us.
make sure you give us ideas of what you would like to have us talk about on the show.
Absolutely.
As well as input. And hey, you never know if your questions are good enough or you hit us up enough.
Yes.
We may even have you come on as a special guest.
Right here in the
on our
studio.
show.
Absolutely. So listen, you want the opportunity? Tell us. But guys, again, thank you so much. We are out, and as always, get good.